the same like I used to be. No, no, no. I'ma change my life. I'ma do things right. Starting today, I'ma live a different way. When it's hard, it gets hard sometimes. Faithful like it is. That's alright. I'ma do my best. I'ma do my best to keep the commandment. To keep the commandment.
These are the Moed of Yah, set apart gatherings, which you are to proclaim at their appointed times. The Feast of Firstfruits. We find this outlined in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 9 through 14, and it reads, And Yah spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, and you shall reap its harvest, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before Yah for your acceptance. On the morrow after the Sabbath the priest waves it, and on that day when you wave the sheaf, you shall prepare a male lamb, a year old, a perfect one, as a burnt offering to Yah. And you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to Yah your Elohim, a law forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Now, Scripture did not give a specific date for first fruits. Yah only states that it is to be observed on the day after the Sabbath. Of course, this led to confusion as to which Sabbath was in question. Was it the weekly 7-day Sabbath, or was it the special high day Sabbath of the first day of unleavened bread? We see that Scripture says, 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses, and on the first day is a set apart gathering. Now, I personally believe Yah was referring to the weekly 7-day Sabbath. And the reason why I believe that is because of the prophetic fulfillment of first fruits by Yeshua. Now, you may also again want to check out Good Friday, Easter Sunday, 3 days, 3 nights video I've got set up, which goes into more detail regarding this situation. We'll also give you some more background. But just as Passover, unleavened bread, and Pentecost were fulfilled on the very day in which these days were to be observed, so was first fruits. So we can clearly see that Yah and Yeshua fulfilled these days on those very days, and they knew all of these things from, as Scripture would say, from the foundations, before the foundations of the world were even laid. They already knew what was going to happen. As Yah says, he declares the end of things from the beginning of things. So their plan for the redemption of mankind is a deliberate and purposeful thing. There is not a single thing that Yeshua did that was not deliberate and prepared beforehand. The Father knew that all that they said and would do would be under extreme scrutiny, just as the chief priests and the elders brought Yeshua, as when Yeshua arrived at the temple, and began to put him under extreme and constant scrutiny so as to see if they could trip him up. As it is written in Psalms about Yeshua, Psalms 40 verse 7, Lo, I come, in the volume of the book it is written of me. All of these things were, again, symbols, prophetic pictures of what Yah and Yeshua would do in future days. Now, since there is no longer, regarding the modern day observance of first fruits, since there is no longer a temple, nor a need for a temple and sacrifices, there is not anything done regarding first fruits. You know, so although Yah did say, as we just saw in Leviticus 23, this is a law forever throughout your generations. Remember, one thing that a lot of folks tend to pass on is that at the beginning he says, speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them, when you come into the land which I give you, and shall reap its harvest. We are in exile, right, brothers and sisters? We are not in the land. So once we return to the land, first fruits will once again become a required observance of ours. And because all that was lost over the years during our exile points back to the need for our brother Elijah, to come and restore all things. He will be our teacher of all things that we have been lost, and will teach us the practices which we have lost over the years because of the sins of our parents and our own sins, that we are here in America in exile once again in Babylon. And I will be covering that one too. I know I've got a lot of things I got to cover, outlining my proof that Israel is once again sent into captivity in Babylon here in America. But back to first fruits. Now, one other thing to take note of, the end of first fruits also marks the beginning of the countdown to Pentecost, or the Feast of Weeks, as it is sometimes called. Now, as I've already mentioned, the prophetic implications, or the prophetic picture that was being outlined with first fruit, was Yeshua being the first fruits of the human harvest. Yeshua was resurrected from the dead on the morrow after the Sabbath, which was, in our day and age, Saturday night, or the first day of the week, as you would see it described in Scripture sometimes. And we also have this confirmed for us in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 20 to 23. But now Messiah has been raised from the dead, and has become the first fruit of those having fallen asleep. Messiah the first fruits, then those who are of Messiah at his coming. He represents the fulfillment of the first fruits of Yah's harvest, of those who will be blessed with his spirit, changed from corruptible flesh into an incorruptible spirit being. And after his resurrection, Yeshua was presented before his Father in heaven as the first fruits wave sheaf offering, just as Scripture commanded us to do. So did he do himself after his resurrection, as he said to Mary, "Do not touch me, for I have not yet ascended to my Father." And he presented himself along with the resurrected saints to his Father in heaven. John chapter 20, verse 17. Yeshua said to her, "Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, and to my Elohim and your Elohim."